because Tim's jumping in and talking about the referral engine. So a lot of you guys would know that Tim is someone that's part of our community and been part of our group. I think I've met Tim through multiple groups over the years of knowing him. So he's one of those people that contributes to the community. He's jumping on today to talk about all things around networking and referrals off the back of the great presentation that Kelvin did with us a couple of weeks ago. So I'll let you take it away, Tim.
Thanks, buddy. Okay, we thought we'd do that because I think Kel had a fantastic presentation, but the high-level strategies, I wanted to kind of drill down into the actual practicalities of it today, right? Because what I've noticed over the years that most professional services businesses, and we are no exception to the rule, get about 80% of their referrals, 80% of their business growth from referrals. Right, and particularly in the professional services space, so like finance, insurance, accountants, et cetera, right? But very few people can tell you where their next 5 referrals are coming from, right? And that's a massive freaking problem if you're going to rely on this, right? Referrals are treated like luck, not like a system. And when people rely on goodwill and coffee chats and vague promises like, yeah, mate, I'll keep you in mind, right? But that is clearly not a strategy. That's just optimism wearing a blazer, right? So today, I wanted to sort of drill into how to turn referrals into something that happens randomly into something that's predictable. So you've actually got a proper system in place, because I don't think referrals are not random acts of goodwill, right? They're engineered outcomes in your business in the same way that you would engineer your marketing strategy around your podcast or your sort of social media content or your ads. And I think once you understand that about referrals, the whole game for referrals, completely changes. So some context of this, I think there's only really sort of 4 growth models that we can do, all right? And I call this open. I'm going to talk about it in my upcoming book, which should be released in theory before my birthday, but we'll see. And that's organic, paid, earned, and network, right? Now, most businesses obsess over one of these. If you open up your Instagram feed, it'll pretty much go, do ads because everything else is shit. And someone else will say, do SEO because everything else is shit. And someone else will say, do social and viral content because everything else is shit, right? The reality is that there's 4 different things you can do: some rely on ads, referrals, some post on content, etc. And any one of these strategies from marketing context can grow a business. I don't care. It's not TikTok or Instagram or LinkedIn or fucking skywriting or whatever. They all fit into one of 4 of these 4 buckets, right? When multiple pathways work together, they stop competing and they start compounding together. But today, we're just going to focus on N for network, right? Because referrals, which we know are often the highest converting and least systemized growth channel for business. And that's where a lot of revenue lives. Okay, so most businesses will get referrals. Cool. Okay, but where, how often? I mean, Kel shared that he got 67 referrals last week, which is awesome, but no one knows who they're coming from, what triggers them, what happens when they stop. It's usually just silence, right? When people don't have a referral strategy, they have a few good relationships and a lot of hope. Okay, coffee chats aren't a pipeline strategy. Hope isn't a sales system. And I want to challenge you guys today as well. I mean, feel free to use the chat. I've got it open as well so I can see what's going on there. Okay. Is if you disappeared out of your business for 30 days, would your business still get referrals? Because if the answer is no, you don't have a system, you've got dependence. And I think the distinction actually really matters. Okay. Here we go. Next slide. All right. So, look, referrals are typically inconsistent because of bad luck. Right? But that's not, right? It's actually just fucking math, right? They rely on too few referral partners. It's like if you've only got 3 people sending referrals and one gets busy and another one disappears because they're taking holidays or changes focus, or worse, forgets you exist, your pipeline falls over. And that's not bad luck. It's just basically a tiny sample size pretending to be strategy, right? And I know, Kel, you chase lots of big groups because of this, okay? Small partner pools create high variance, random timing, revenue dependence, and feast and famine cycles. And that's typically why referrals feel chaotic, because statistically they just are. Okay, so let's make this practical. Let's look at, say, scenario 1, you've got 3 referral partners. You know, I think I've got the wrong slide there. There we go. That's the one I was looking at. 3 referral partners, like same quality, right? Average intent. Month 1, you get none. Month 3, you get 2. Month 3, you get 1. And it feels unstable because it generally is, right? But if you have 15 referral partners, you'd have 11 and 14 and 13. It actually starts to feel a bit more predictable. So it's the same concept, right? It's just a completely different experience because consistently comes from distribution. In the same way, if you were to run ad content, you wouldn't just have 1 ad creative. You'd have 2 ad creators, 3 ad creators, 4 ad creators. You put them into that, ad set in Meta, and it would automatically optimize. And effectively, that's what we want to do, the same thing for us, right? So that systems like that, it just doesn't become inconsistent, right? It actually starts to be engineered. Now, with the process that I typically use is a thing I call Quest, right? So feel free to shamelessly rip this off if you want to. We firstly want to qualify who's actually should be a referral partner, okay? Because not everyone who can refer you should. The people in this room, for example, largely not referral partners for each other, with the exception of Gary, who's got lots of referral partners in this room, right? Selling a complementary product. Kel, you've got some complementary products as well, right? And some competitive ones. You've really got to understand, how do they identify an opportunity in their world, right? I'm going to drill into these in more detail, right? What do they hear before a client realizes they've got a problem? How do you make it easy for them to refer to you, right? Because people won't refer what they can't explain. How do you stay top of mind, right? How do you become visible but without becoming professionally annoying, right? A lot of my referral partners, what I've done is actually embed my service offering into their process. And so when they sell a thing, they sell me as well. And I do the same for my referral partners too. Okay, Kel, I know you and Gary do that. Every time you sell a product, you go, do you want my CRM SIM as part of that bundle? Okay, it's exactly what we want to be doing. And lastly, how do we multiply good relationships from 1 into 5 or into 10 or into 20? Because that's a system, right? We're not building referral relationships. We're actually trying to start to build referral architecture and infrastructure. Okay. And this is where most people, I think, are quietly sabotaging themselves. They choose bad partners, right? They have weak one-to-ones. They don't give people any tools. They disappear after the first meeting, like going on 1 date and never have a second one, right? They never ask for introductions, and yet they wonder why referrals become inconsistent, right? So here's the brutal truth for you, right? If you're in one-to-ones with people and with it was just coffee, nice, maybe, right? But commercially useful, fuck no, right? The goal is not to have more conversations. The goal is to have better outcomes from the conversations you're having. And that's where we start to sort of drill into understanding who it is that you should be meeting in a room. Okay? Because not all referral partners are created equal. Some are absolute freaking gold mines. And some are just coffee buddies. Right? We want a good referral partner will pass 3 tests. Firstly, they work with your ideal client. Regularly work with your ideal client. Not once a year, consistency, right? Consistently. They're having 10 to 20 to 30 meetings a week, right? With your ideal client. Even if they're only having 5, one of those 5 people should need what you do if they have your ideal client. The second one is they're having the same or similar conversation. So they hear the same pain points and they spot problems before it becomes urgent. And that creates a natural referral thing. Okay. And lastly, they don't compete with you, right? The relationship is complementary, right? You make each other more valuable. And that's where the real symbiosis happens. So stop asking who can refer me and start asking who is having a conversation with my ideal client about the thing that I already do. And because that becomes the real game. Okay, so let's look at some examples. Now, this is not necessarily in our space, but we get the idea, right? Because that's why people choose partners badly, right? They choose based on familiarity. Like, I like them, we get along, they seem nice, right? They're fun to hang out with. But nice is not a referral strategy. Strategic alignment means they've got your client, same commercial conversations, and can improve the client outcome when they introduce us. So that's the key. So let's look at some examples here, right? Mortgage broker and financial planner, natural fit. Same client, same money conversations, no conversation, no competition, right? They're creating opportunity. Same thing with your accountant and business coach, both having conversations about growth. Physio and personal trainer, same conversations about physical fitness, bookkeeper and business advisor, right? Any of us in the room right now and Gary, right, have better outcomes, right? We're looking for operational overlap, not social chemistry, okay? So the best referrals make referrals feel really obvious. All right, now, here's the truth, right? Most people actually want to refer you. They just freaking don't know how, right? And the truth is that humans are lazy, distracted creatures, okay? If it takes effort, it dies. So we've got to remove the friction, right? We've got to give people referral trigger scenarios, simple language, examples, educational one-pagers, easy to share tools, QR codes, any of that shit, okay? That's effectively your referral ready kit. If you're really feeling really lazy and want to just like grab one, you can get one, virtual backgrounds, like literally there you go. You can download one. You can kind of create it. I'll create a little AI tool that goes and creates it for you. So for me, I don't want to rely on muscle memory, right? I want to build referral muscle, right? So if it's easier to refer you, the more often it happens, right? So we want to get simple beating clever every single time. Okay, so when I network, what I'm looking for, and I've been doing this for 3 years, I guess, in business now, since I first got up at a BNI meeting, okay? In context here, this is where your CRM becomes your unfair advantage, okay? So most people meet someone once and then vanish into the mist like a networking ghost. Like, poof, awesome, okay? Then 6 months later, they're like, why is this person not referring me, right? Don't do that. Your referral partners should feel like they're in your world without you constantly chasing them and asking for it, okay? We need to be tracking who they are, what they do, past conversations, who they referred, what matters to them, and then stay visible. Case studies, relevant wins, introductions to them as well, right? Useful content, simple follow-up, right? If you have a meeting with a potential referral partner, check in, like use automation to build a check-in process that prompts you to call them 6 months later. Like I've got a referral partner pipeline in GHL that literally messages me. It sends me a text and says, oi, Tim, you need to call this person. Here's their phone number. Here is a little précis of the last conversation you had with them. And guess what happens? They go, oh, shit, it was really great to hear from you. How did you remember that? Right? And then you can ask, right? Light automation, heavy intention, because if they forget you exist, they cannot refer you and will not refer you. Now, relationships matter, right? But again, relationships without structure just creates that inconsistency, right? You don't get married on the first date. We've seen it on TV. Doesn't freaking work, right? People confuse being well-liked with being referable, and it's not the same thing, right? You need both trust and a process. So your relationship is absolutely going to open the door, but the system creates repeatability. So without process, you're going to have accidental referrals. You're going to meet lots of people that go nowhere, right? With a process, we start to get predictable results. And that means clear positioning, clear triggers, clear follow-up, clear ownership, and remembering that your friendship is not infrastructure. Okay, our systems beat sentiment every single time. And we're doing for time, 123. All good. Okay, smashing it. So this is the transition point I want you to think about, okay? So my referral pipeline start as random. Someone introduces you, something works, hopes it happens again, and that's really fragile. What we want is repeatable, and that's moving people through clear stages. So identifying who they are, qualifying what they do, engaging with them, right, if they're a good fit, enabling them to refer, and then systemizing the process. So each stage reduces that randomness, right? Each stage creates more predictability. And this is where businesses stop saying, like, we've grown by word of mouth. And they start saying, we know exactly where our referrals coming from and when they're coming. And that's a completely different business. All right. So I want you to start thinking about referrals like an engine if you're going to rely on this particular strategy. Most people are trying to drive faster with half the engine missing. They push harder, more networking, more events, more coffee. You start feeling a little bit wired. But the issue for most people isn't effort. I know, Kel, this is something you're really deliberate about, right? You're deliberately targeting leaders of business networks, right? And offering something to them to build their infrastructure because they've got your client that you want to do, right? The next layer from there is going, do they have the same conversation about what it is that I do? Okay, because that's where the architecture starts coming in, right? Engines need fuel, they need timing, they need maintenance, and referral growth works in the same way. Like the quest is not motivation, it's engineering that process. Okay, so if one part is missing from that, performance drops. If you don't qualify the right people and do everything else, you're just going to have a lot of partners that don't ever refer you because they're not having the conversations. If you qualify them and come to an understanding and don't educate them on what it is you do, they don't know how to refer you. If you don't stay top of mind, they forget about you. If you don't transfer trust onto the next relationship and loop back with those referrals that you're given, right? It doesn't build and educate that person further. I could count on two hands the number of times that a referral that I have given to somebody else where they've come back and said, not really the right fit, or I've just met with them, or anything like that. When they do, it builds trust because they're treating that referral with the respect that we expect from a trusted connection of ours, right? If several of these pieces are missing, the whole thing just falls over. Okay, so we don't want more hustle. What we want is better design. And the cool thing about that is it actually starts to get a really fucking compounding effect. Okay, one good referral partner is useful. 10, completely transformational. I can't recall the book. Chet Holmes. Kel, you might know it off the top of your head, right? The Dream 100. Okay, it's if you had 100 of your ideal referral partner, like how many conversations are they having a week? 10, 20, right? That's potentially 1,000 to 2,000 referrals every single week from 100 people. We don't need 100. Like, I don't know what you do with 2,000 referrals a week. That'd be like absolute chaos. Just 10 people would be okay, right? But the more you get, the more compounding they start to have, they do, right? Because one trusted partner introduces to another trusted partner, and that person's open up another room, and then another, right? And that's how your real network actually grows. Like it starts to grow exponentially, right? And for me, that's why I care so much around that trust transfer, right? One introduction can create years and years of opportunity. I get one marketing agency at a BNI convention last year, followed up with them, and that relationship is now worth $60,000, $70,000 a year, that one relationship. And that will be every year will be worth another $60,000, $70,000 on top of the money that I'm already making from the original introductions in year one. Right? The goal is not more opportunities. It's building an ecosystem where referrals keep reproducing, and that's the real asset to a business. Okay. Now, here's the thing we want to look at. We want to stay top of mind without being a dickhead, right? Because most people read a referral partner once and then disappear, right? And then 6 months later, they pop up asking for more referrals. And that's not strategy. It's wishful thinking, okay? So again, if they forget you, they can't refer you. You need to stay visible without being annoying, right? So have consistent touch points. When you have that first one-to-one, don't have one. Set up a weekly cadence for the first 4 weeks so that you can learn more about how you could work together, right? How you can embed their system into your process and vice versa, right? Keep showing up in the rooms that they're in, sharing relevant case studies and useful introductions, checking in with purpose, right? And this is where we want to build into our CRM. We can build that process really, really easy as an internal workflow, not necessarily just talking to customers. Track the relationships, track the conversations, track the referrals. Okay. Your referral partner should feel like they're in your world without you constantly chasing them. Okay. Now, transferring trust, and this is where referrals really start to compound, because again, many people build a referral relationship with one person and then forget about the rest. Okay. You get busy with the referrals that person gives you, and then you stop doing the work that actually meant that they kept referring you. Okay. And that's a mistake, right? One good referral partner should lead to more. So if someone is introduced to you by a trusted source, the conversation changes. You're not cold. You're arriving with credibility already attached, and treat it as such. So instead of asking, anyone who needs what I do, and I hate that word anyone, right? Ask, who else do you trust that I should meet? Who else is having these same conversations that we have, right? Where does your network overlap with mine? So warm introductions, if you want to use, what's it called? My trusted thingy, my most trusted, use it. All right. Warm introductions beat cold outreach, because trust gets there before you do. And that's the multiplier play. One strong partner becomes 3. 3 becomes 10. And that's how your network grows. Okay. Now, this is the full operating model effectively, right? It's not just tactics, right? Open, organic, paid, earned network. That's where your growth comes from. That's your leads that come in, right? Quest tells you how to be your network, to make your network particularly become predictable, right? Your referral partner filter protects quality. Your CRM protects consistency, and having things like your referral ready kit, which I'll share in a sec, again, right, protects execution. It's what you give to your partners so that they know how to refer you. And all of together, that creates the real engine to grow referrals. So it stops being random networking or accidental introductions or hope. It actually starts to become like structure. And for me, that's where referrals become a strategic growth channel rather than just a pleasant bonus. All right. Now, this is the part I want you to remember, right? Is that referrals are not random acts of goodwill, right? They are literally a byproduct of trust, of visibility, and having a referral system in place. Trust gets you introduced. Visibility keeps you remembered, and systems ultimately make that whole process repeatable. Okay. And without that, your referral channel will always stay inconsistent. But with it, it becomes possibly the strongest growth channel that you could ever do in your business. And it doesn't cost you a cent. That's the shift, right? Stop hoping, start engineering, right? Because predictable referrals are not magic, they're built, right? So let's keep it practical real quick, okay? If you're going to do this, I want you to give you a bit of homework to do. Identify 3 ideal referral partners, having the same conversation with the same client, but doesn't do what you do. I'll give you a tip. It's probably not your accountant. Okay? Because they're not having the same conversation as you are, right? Give one clear referral scenario. Book and have that one structured one-to-one. Give them referral assets on how to refer you. Ask for a warm introduction to someone else, right? Hopefully, I want you to not leave this presentation inspired. I want you to leave here operational. Okay. We don't need 100 people referring to you because you'd probably get overwhelmed. I certainly would. All right. We just need 10 people to know exactly how. Okay. And that's how we stop making referrals random and how we start making them predictable in a real referral engine. That's it. Come on, Hugh. Ask questions.
Let's go. Tim, awesome. Awesome. I took a bunch from that. I know that other people have as well. I've got some questions loaded in already to rock. I know Brett asked one further up the top here. Yep. What business is the ideal referral partner for us?
Depends on where you're at. Okay, so I don't do lead gen at all for me. So I find lead gen agencies are a perfect fit, right? Because effectively as GHL agencies, we're in lead management. We're not in lead generation. It's an important distinction to make. If your agency is also doing lead gen in any form, I don't care whether it's ads or social media content or whatever, effectively what you're doing is you're replacing your lead gen by cannibalizing your partner channel. Okay. So I think for us, things like, people like business coaches are good. They're having a growth conversation with their clients, but they're not doing the delivery infrastructure for that. Okay. So business coaches become a good one. Unfortunately, a lot of business coaches will, cap out at 10 clients. They won't go any further than that. Okay. Accountants, unfortunately, are not good referral partners. So whilst they have our client, they typically don't have a conversation about their growth. And Brett, you're laughing. I know why, mate. Okay. So again, think about in your world, who has your customer and has a similar conversation with you. Okay. So who else is on the call today? Let me just, I can see everybody and pick their particular things, what they do. I don't know what everyone's market is. Okay. But I'll go with Gary. Okay. Because Gary's a really obvious one. Okay. Gary provides an add-on product to High Level. I think you do some other systems as well, don't you, Gary, now? Right? You can plug into some other CRMs, just High Level?
Oh, yeah. No, we are.
Okay. Yeah, so you can plug into other CRM systems. So good referrals for Gary are people who sell CRM systems, like everyone in this room. Okay. And so there's a symbiosis for Gary to say, if you're selling a CRM system that has SMS capability or needs SMS capability, we provide that system which can plug in, right? There's a symbiotic effect. So almost every time any of us are working with a client, we could easily put a checkbox on our opt-in form, the sign-up form that says, would you like unlimited SMS for fucking $97? Yes, tick. Gary gets a sale.
Everyone should do that.
Okay. Nice and easy thing, right? Now, Gary's got to build, but we can't just do that off the bat, without doing anything. Gary's work has to involve teaching us how to embed that into our process, because I don't know how the fuck to do it. Okay.
Really good point.
I don't know what I'm selling for Gary. I don't know the ins and outs of my CRM system to the same level of detail unless Gary educates me on how to do it. Okay. So for all of us, we're going to have slightly different things, right? Depending on what industry sector you're in, what vertical you're in, if you're in a vertical at all, right? If you're working with consulting firms and you decide a consulting firm is your ideal client, consulting firms or sales coaches might not deal with staff, might only deal with people who've got 20 salespeople. Is that the client you want to reach? If it is, yes. Salespeople, sales coaches, awesome referral partners. Why? Because chances are that the organization they're going in to fix and do the sales training may not have their pipeline set up or their appointment setting infrastructure set up. Great referral partners for us, right? But if I don't teach that sales coach who has my client how to introduce me, what to do, we're going to miss that opportunity.
And I think that goes off what Brett made a comment on earlier as well, is that there's some people that are great referral partners, but then they like that could be fantastic referral partners, but they actually suck at the process. And so a back of the end question off the back of that is, how do you help create that structure so that you've got a bit of an ecosystem that maybe not as full on as one of its referral systems to be able to do that?
Yeah, Vit's is a little bit over-engineered, which I think even Vit recognizes as well. I'm just going to stop sharing this. I've just noticed someone mentioned web devs here. Yeah, web devs awesome, right? As long as you're not pushing in your business, you know, the website side of things, of, you know, the website capability. Again, it's non-competing. Like if a web dev is never going to refer you clients if they know you know that you push GHL's website capabilities in website builder and so on. Okay, they just won't do it because they'll go, you'll just take my client. Why would I refer you? We've got to protect the ground that we're in. Just coming back to your question there, Jared, can you just sort of ping me in on again?
Yeah. So like we were talking about referral partners, sometimes we can find some epic people that would be a really good fit, right? And then what we find is that they aren't positioning themselves well, or framing a conversation, or putting in a structure, or being provided one that may be good enough to help keep them on track to being able to actively be thinking about that.
That's on us. If I want someone to refer me, I've got to educate them on how to do it.
And so that's like the back question of that, right? Is what are the things that you're doing to be able to provide that that process or that security blanket to increase, you know, their confidence in being able to have that conversation with their potential.
Let me just open up my browser here. I'm going to show you a couple of things. Where's my stuff? I'm going to jump in. So I'll do things like open partner referral guide. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen again real quick. All right, so I've got literally some of these assets. I'll jump into my CRM as well. Quick. Chrome, is that the right one? I've got to find which fucking screen I'm sharing. Hang on.
While Tim's doing that as well, guys.
I've got too many browsers, too many windows open.
While Tim's doing that, if you've got any other questions, feel free to chuck them into the comments.
Chat, okay? So everyone can see my screen now?
Yep.
Okay. So this is one of the assets that I provide to my referral partners. So it sort of comes into, and this is long, right? This is not a one-page sort of thing, right? It goes into why we're doing it. Yes, there's a one-page summary. Who are we? What do we do? Who do we help? How do you recognize a good referral, and how do you introduce us? Okay. One-page summary. Don't just send this to someone. Literally get on a call with them and go through it so they understand it. Okay. So look, literally, this is who we are. What do we do? Why do we do what we do? This is a little bit about me, what I'm interested in. I want to try and help 50 small business owners in the next 12 months, 6 months, right? I want to kind of grow my client base by this much. Okay. This is what we've done. You know, I've done 1,000 clients in 38 countries now doing CRM work. Okay. Coached my son's rugby team for over a decade. Right. Recognised as a BNI legend in Australia. I got a commendation from the ACT Chief Minister. Right. These kinds of things actually allow you to connect with people. But I go further than that. Right. Who's our ideal customer? Right. Where are they? What do they do? What don't they want? Do they want? What's my last 10 clients like? What was their problem, and what do we solve for them? Right. Because if you go into those things, people will recognize that, you know, no slow response time, right? Existing CRM, manual reporting. Get into, what are they bragging about? Okay. What are they complaining about? What are they asking for advice on? Go through these things. What are they bragging about? Right? How many people have spoken to someone who says, I'm so busy? That's a referral trigger, guys. I'm so busy. So what are you working on? You know, have you automated that process?
Right? Do you read those out though, Tim? Like when you're
I'll go through these in different scenarios. Okay.
Yeah.
One of the best things you can possibly do with a referral partner is literally do this. Get into your calendar and start talking about the clients you're meeting in a week. So if I go back a few weeks, I've had a couple of quiet weeks lately, but if I go back a few weeks ago to this sort of, right, go to this week here, I don't know how many, there's probably 20 or 30 conversations in there, right? If I'm sitting down with my referral partner and they go, tell me about Carol, tell me about Lauren, tell me about Alessio or Nandita or Trang, or right. And I start talking about Trang's business. my referral partner will go, oh, we could probably do that with them. I'd love an introduction. And I'm like, oh, shit, that's a really good point. I didn't recognize that at the time because I've got my blinkers on. And so if you're doing that kind of every single week with 5 people, I can almost guarantee you can look at someone else's calendar and go, that's an opportunity for me. That's an opportunity. That's an opportunity. You could probably find 2 or 3 of those, right? If we drill into our, if we get into our, let's jump out of the AI, the studio, right? And get into referral partner pipeline. Do you have are you using the pipeline for your referral partners to go, here are all the potential partners I want to reach out to? These are the people I've got one-to-one calls with booked. Okay. Simon, I'm going to drop in here. Huge network. Okay. Stefan, I want to drop in there as well. Huge network. Okay. What am I doing with them to build the relationship and the visibility? If I've got, these are the people I've spoken to recently, right? Troy is a referral partner of mine in the US right now. They have literally got 400 clients for their accounting growth firm, right? Who all need marketing and CRM work done. 400. I don't need 400 clients. I don't know what the fuck I do with them all. Okay. And so there's an automation that literally sits in behind this, that literally every 20 days moves them from the connected recently into the needs action bucket. And I will do something. I will like this. I will like a post. I will send them an SMS. I'll arrange to catch up for coffee. I'll say, what's happening in your world? I will go into my database and actually actively look for an opportunity for them. Right? Because if I'm doing those things, they're going to refer me more often.
There's a question to this too, Tim, off the back of that, with what you were just saying there. What if I can't refer back to a referral partner? Won't they get shitty with us and stop referring me, or will they refer to someone else?
It depends. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I think you've got to recognize it enough, right? And you can, there's other things you can do, right? Can you, if you can't refer back, because it's often referral relationships are one way. Can you showcase them on your website? Can you do a shout out on your social media channels on a regular basis? And I'll say, thanks so much, Kel, for those 6 referrals last week. Fucking amazing. This is what Kel does, right? If you want to formalize the relationship, and a lot of Americans will do this because they love their affiliate arrangements, have an affiliate arrangement where you give a kickback for the number of referrals that get sent through. I typically don't do that the first, second, third, but someone send me 5. I'm like, fuck, I can't. Maybe I can find them another introduction for someone upstream from them in my network. Okay. The graphic design, I don't, find up, I guess as CRM people, we don't often find opportunities for graphic design, but my graphic designer had sent me a bunch of leads. So I introduced her to a brand designer that I know. And literally she's a brand strategist, and literally she's now building 11 websites from that introduction. All right. So find ways to be useful. And if you can't find ways to be useful, put some dollars on the table. I know Vit's going to talk about that next week, Jared, right? Have a formal affiliate relationship where you pay someone for the lead.
Awesome. I've just read Beck's question a couple of times because I was trying to make sense of it, Beck, but I've definitely got it now. What's your top tip for managing referrer departures? So particularly they are an employee. Despite requests, they don't always notify replacement team members of what you do. It's a good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think that's where you want to be looking at, that second, building relationships, not just necessarily with that employee. You want to kind of look beyond that. Who else do they work with, right? So if it's a sales team, let's pick a sales team, for example, and they might have 3 or 4 people, you have a relationship with one. How do you get in front of those people to educate the group of people? Okay. I'm doing some stuff with the alternative board, for example, right? Now I can either go to the individual franchisee or I can go to the head. And again, this is some of the stuff that Kel does, looking like how can go one level up, right? And so that I can educate those board members or those those franchisees what we do, and so that when they're sitting in a boardroom with their clients, that they can all refer me. Okay. So again, it's about staying top of mind at the right level and continuing to understand it. Say, you know, ultimately you build friendships with these referral partners as well. If you know someone is leaving, they'll probably tell you and you can say, hey, who's taken over? I'd love an introduction to that person. If they've already left and didn't tell you, saying, oh, I'm sorry, I saw you moved on because you've updated your LinkedIn profile and where you are now. Who took over at XYZ? Could you introduce me to them?
Boom. Just
like that. And then you start the process again. You build that relationship with them.
Awesome. So I had a question before, but you've partly answered it, Tim, by going into your high level and showing the pipeline stage and then mentioning like in a particular pipeline stage, it's like a reminder to engage in some way, like liking a post, checking in, text message. I guess what other ways might you be using high level for that referral part of what you're doing with your business to do other things that might be reaching out to them, automated check-ins, however that looks? Have you got anything else that you do?
The key with it is, you know, again, tracking what you're doing, right? So a lot of business growth is around organization. I have, it's a little bit stupid, but I have this kind of like literally a sort of, you know, buy or die kind of nurture sequence for evergreen for partners. And it changes what it does each time. So sometimes it'll send an SMS and I don't need to do anything, right? Other times to the referral partner. Other times it'll send a thing to me to say, you need to pick up the phone and call them this time, right? I might track that I've done nothing. I go and do nothing, right? And get them off my plate and just circle around again. I've just spoken to someone yesterday and I get an SMS from my system to say, oh, you need to talk to Chris again. I'm like, I've just spoken to Chris. I've done that activity for the month. Okay. So you can build that sort of process in. We've got, I mean, the really exciting thing that's happening in the AI space at the moment is that we can actually use AI to go and see what people are doing, give us a little brief, and even write the communication to them based on what they're doing. Right? So it can go and look at their social media posts. It can go and look at their website. It can go and look at news mentions and say, oh, are you going? Like, Jared, you just posted some stuff about the get together in Queensland on the Gold Coast. Okay. If my AI picks it up, it says, oh, you're looking forward to it. What's the thing you're most looking for? I saw you going to this thing. What are you looking forward to? Jared's like, oh my God, you just thought about me. You took the time to make me feel special and recognize what I'm doing.
The Brazilian barbecue.
Okay. Brazilian barbecue. Awesome. Get the pineapple. It's brilliant.
How do you find referral partners to build out that consistency, Tim? We were talking about the latter approach where you're showing the steps of building up more and then getting more consistency through there. If you're talking about someone that's starting out from ground zero, that's going, I want to go break into this space. I want to actually start to turn it into a system rather than a thought. What are some ways that you would consider or share your experience around that?
Look, probably the easiest thing to do is to get into a networking group, right? I don't care what brand is on the label, because the people in there are looking to get and give referrals. That's probably the easiest way to find someone, right? They've got to be they have to the intent to go, I'm joining a networking group to network to start with, right? That's probably the easiest one. Second space would be, again, really identifying who that key partner is for you and where they've got, and get onto LinkedIn. LinkedIn is incredible for networking, right? Start the conversation and say, hey, I notice you do this, right? Do you work with a partner in this space already? And if the answer is no, the next question becomes, would you be open to a conversation about how we might be able to support each other's growth over the next 90 days? Okay, so get onto LinkedIn, reach out to sales trainers, reach out to business coaches, reach out to web devs, reach out to other marketing agencies and start asking the question saying, hey, do you work with someone in this space? Right? I've got an opportunity right now with an agency in Melbourne who's been on the acquisition path. They've bought 6 other agencies in the last 12 months they've got a bunch of GHL accounts that they don't know how to fucking manage because they have no internal capability for it. And we're now exploring a partnership, not only for me to support those accounts, but potentially buy them wholesale off their hands, which is about $100,000 in revenue a year, just like that, right? And be their go-to partner for any new ones for the rest of their client base. They're trying to buy another 15 agencies in the next 3 years. They don't want to do CRM work. Where did I meet them? At a dinner. He said, what do you do? I said, I run a marketing. He says, I run a marketing agency. I said, that's so cool. I run a CRM agency. Do you work with a partner in this space right now? He's going, no. I'm like, we should chat. You know, would you be open to a conversation about that? If the answer is no, fine, next. Move on to the next person.
When you're looking at that, Tim, you shared some an asset before where you were showing the Google Doc. Are there other referral assets that you share? Like, are there flyers? Are there brochures? Are there landing pages?
Like if I jump on, I don't know if I can jump into that one. Hang on, let me see if I can share it. So I actually share a whole bunch of stuff in that. Like even like if someone books one with me, I'll share that document, which has obviously got a ton of stuff. But in the lead up to that call, I'll share case studies of how we work with partners, you know, set expectations, put an agenda in, those kinds of things. So I'll actually do that as well. And I will do as part of that sort of nurture process, if I'm updating what I'm doing, I'll kind of go back out to that referral partner network and saying, hey, we've made a change in what we're doing, or change of focus. This is what we're doing, right? Because the referral partners you haven't spoken to for 12 months still think you did what you did last year. And it's probably not the same thing. Okay. Or they think it's worth this much and you've completely changed your pricing model.
Yep.
Okay. Well, they've got expectations based on someone else. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Brett,
Brett's got another one here.
Any of my stuff on LinkedIn? No, I haven't.
There's a few from Brett here that I'll go through as well. Another question to ask your referral partner is, how many customers do you currently have? I know, I think this is more feedback from Brett. So Brett, to put in here, another question to ask your referral partner is, how many customers do you currently have, or how many leads are you talking to each month if they're not talking to anyone? Next. Do you like how I did that, Brett?
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah, pretty much. I can't ask. I get like, how often would you meet with these people every month? And if the answer is none, you know, once or twice, they're not going to be a good partner for you.
Another one from Brett, mate. Are you willing to share your guide?
I can share my guide, absolutely.
Another one from Tara. She's going a bit deeper into the waters.
Just DM me.
Tara's asking if you'll share the snapshot for your system.
I am actually building that snapshot out at the moment as a product that can sit on anyone's GHL account, right? So that's not too far away.
Awesome. Watch this space.
Watch this space.
Brett's got here, say I'm targeting lead gen agencies and end up with 5 referring me. How do I determine which one I will refer to? And what do we tell them? Any thoughts?
Yeah, good question, Brett. It's like if you've got 50 web development partners and they're all expecting you to refer back, just be real fucking honest and say, like, hey, we work with a number of agencies. You know, if I get a better understanding about who your best fit client is, I can absolutely refer them to you, right? But obviously you can't make any promises because we're typically downstream, right? I think the fucking pain in the ass thing about lead gen agencies is they try to do everything. You know, they're all experts in TikTok and Meta and social media and Google ads and this, that, and the other thing. And they all build websites. And I'm like, the question I ask is what are you, like, hand on heart, what are you just fucking amazing at? What is, you know, your bread and butter? You can do this at the, you know, better than everybody else thing. If they say everything, get rid of them straight away because they're idiots. Okay. But this is where we want them to be specific in the same way we want to teach them how to recognize referrals for us. Or put in an affiliate relationship and say, look, we'll give you, the first 5, we won't give you anything, but anything after that, we'll give you 20%, 10%, 15%, whatever the number happens to be, whatever you think you can afford in your margins.
Sweet. One more question for you, Tim.
Yep.
No one else has snuck any in, but we've got one here. Have you automated any of your stuff on LinkedIn? Actually, you've answered that. You said no.
I said no.
You said no.
Well,
did you do that in the past?
I've got a VA who does it for me.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not quite true. I have got some automation running on LinkedIn. I've got, 14,000 connections. I've got some automation that connects to new people. I've got some really clear rules about who I'll accept as inbound connections as well.
Tell us about that.
No one from India or Pakistan or Philippines, basically. But I want to connect with people in my ideal customer or referral partner. So I'll connect for referral partners, and I'll have the conversation and say, are you open to this conversation? If they're not, we just remove them straight out again. And customers for me are professional services, 5 to 20 staff, right? US and Australia. So if they don't fit that profile, they don't get a look in. They're not in my network, right? I think one of the things we do is we collect connections for the sake of collecting connections. And, the algorithm says if people look at your content and don't engage with it, doesn't go anywhere else. So if you got 20,000 people and, the few that it gets in front of are the wrong few people, it doesn't go to the people they want to get in front of. So get rid of the ones you don't want. Actively cull your network to the people you actually want to reach.
Do you find, Tim, that you get big reach on LinkedIn?
It has been decreasing over the last 18 months significantly.
Yep. That's just an interesting insight.
And that's why that's what's led me to think that I need to start getting rid of, people who are still public servants. I just don't want them.
Got it. Guys, was there any other questions? If there are, chuck yourself chuck yourself on the mic, off mute. There we go. We've just hit the hour spot, but I'm just curious to make sure that we've addressed everything.
Stick around.
Tara's trying to do something on a screen. So I think that she wants to unmute. Maybe if I click unmute. No, she's not. Okay. I won't click that button. All right. Awesome. Guys, thanks so much, Tim, for dropping this in. This has been absolutely awesome. I think Brett and I had a good time at chewing out a heap of questions today from our side of the fence. If there are any questions, guys, feel free to send them through DM to myself or to Tim. I'll get those questions over to Tim and even get him to be able to answer those as we do a post about the event that we've had today. Tim, appreciate your knowledge, mate. It's good to have so many of you guys that come onto these calls and talk about, some amazing things that we're either doing or not doing well or not doing at all. And it's just great to have, that kind of mind within the group of different people that are sitting on there. So thanks for coming along today and sharing all this stuff.
You're welcome. And guys, if you've got questions, feel free to DM me. I'll share my partner guide and stuff as well.
And parting note on this is we have Vit coming next week. So we've got Vit coming in. He's doing a presentation. He's doing one of the last presentations that he'll be doing in Australia before he jet sets back to Czech Republic.
He's leaving in 20 days.
Yep. So not long now until he leaves. So it'd be great to have him on the call and sharing some insight off the back of what we've been not intentionally theming, but it's been turning out really well with Kelvin and Tim and now Vid as well. But guys, have a fantastic week. Always good to see you all, and we'll catch up again next Wednesday and have Vid present. Take care.